Scientists discovered a second brain in your body, and it might explain why you feel off lately. They call it the enteric nervous system, and it lives in your gut. It has over 100 million neurons, produces 90% of your body's serotonin, and ultimately, it controls how your brain feels. So when something inflames or overwhelms your gut, your brain doesn't stand a chance. That lingering brain fog, the anxiety you can't explain, the low energy that no routine seems to fix, they're not brain issues, they're gut issues. And until you fix your second brain the way I did, your first one will keep struggling. If you've already figured out that gut health was the missing link for your energy or mental clarity, drop your aha moment in the comments. Bonus points if you had to learn it the hard way. These are the stories that can help someone else wake up. In his book, The Mind-to-Gut Connection, Dr. Mayer says this second brain contains 50 to 100 million nerve cells, as many as your spinal cord contains, and even says your gut has capabilities that surpass all your other organs and even rival your brain. Your gut sends real-time updates to the brain through the vagus nerve, which acts as a communication highway between your body and the nervous system. And if those updates are corrupted by inflammation or poor digestion, your brain starts making bad decisions without you giving it permission to make bad decisions. You get brain fog, you get tired, you overreact to stress, you crave sugar and stimulants just to stay functional. And that's why even if something disrupts your gut, you'll feel it everywhere else in your life. In fact, the Cleveland Clinic published an article that claims most of the serotonin in your body is from your gut. That's the same serotonin your brain relies on to regulate mood, motivation, and clarity. If something inflames your gut, serotonin production drops, and so does your mental sharpness. And a leading scientific journal named Nutrients published research saying about 70% of your immune cells live in your gut. These cells are constantly scanning for invaders and deciding whether to mount a defense or to let things pass. Your gut barrier leaks if something even slightly damages it. And when it leaks, your immune system goes into red alert. That chronic, low-grade inflammation is what tanks your recovery, wrecks your energy, and keeps your body in a state of constant overdrive. So you're not tired because you're busy. You're tired because your immune system is burning resources it shouldn't have to. But the worst part is your gut even affects your mitochondria, the energy factories inside every cell in your body. Inflammation prevents mitochondria from getting the clean fuel they need. Instead, they become sluggish. That means that even if you're training, you're eating well, you're getting enough sleep, your cells will still feel tired, which means you will too. And until you fix this, you'll never reach your full capacity, because until you fix your second brain, your first brain will keep on struggling. So if your gut's the problem, then eating healthy should be the solution, because food literally goes through your gut. It sounds obvious, right? But this is where most of us get it wrong. Because the foods you think are helping might be what's doing the damage. For example, let's take clean eating. You avoid seed oils, you eat organic, you follow all the right macros. But if you're overdoing it on protein powders or cutting carbs cold turkey, you can destroy your gut microbiome without even realizing it. Too much of even the right food can feed bad bacteria, just like sugar can, and that's why balance matters more than purity. You can eat all the right foods and still feel bloated and tired, and not realize those healthy meals are part of the problem. Leafy greens like spinach and kale contain compounds called oxalates, which block your body from absorbing key minerals like calcium and magnesium. That can mess with your energy and hydration and overall balance, especially if your system is already stressed. But it gets much worse, because oxalates in spinach and kale and many other plants form tiny crystals that irritate and damage your gut lining, especially if you're sensitive. That inflammation spreads beyond your gut. It shows up as bloating, low energy, brain fog, and that heavy, sluggish feeling, like your body's working against you even when you're doing everything right. And your joints hurt, and your skin doesn't look right, and you feel like crap. Or take lectins. These are proteins you can find in so-called healthy foods like beans, tomatoes, whole grains. They're hard to digest, and they can stick to your gut lining, and they can cause tiny tears over time. And when your gut lining tears, you might notice more bloating or that off feeling after meals. And these foods don't affect everyone the same way. But if your gut's already compromised, even ingredients that you think are healthy can act almost like poison. And then there are artificial sweeteners. They're another hidden landmine. They may be 0 calorie, but they aren't 0 impact. Sweeteners like sucralose and aspartame, they disrupt the gut microbiome, and that reduces beneficial bacteria, and it creates the conditions for dysbiosis, which is an imbalance in gut bacteria that wrecks digestion and may lead to you clearing the room after a meal. And then there's fiber. It's something that health experts tell us is essential for gut health. But if you have gut inflammation, certain types of fiber, like bran or seeds or raw veggies, actually make it worse. That's why those foods make you feel more bloated instead of less. So if you ever felt like you're doing everything right and still running on empty, hit the subscribe button below. I'll keep showing you what's really going on under the surface and how to fix it for good. Now, food is only half the equation, because even if you fix your diet, your gut is still listening to everything else you do. From the moment you wake up to the moment you fall asleep, your gut is constantly reacting to the signals your lifestyle sends, and most of us are sending the wrong signals. Start with light. Morning sunlight doesn't just regulate your circadian rhythm. It also tells your gut when to wake up and start moving food along. Without natural light exposure, your digestion slows, stomach acid drops, and gut motility weakens. That means even the best breakfast still sits like a brick in your stomach. And sleep is a major signal that your gut listens to. So just one bad night of sleep can mess with your gut bacteria, weaken your gut lining, and trigger inflammation. In fact, your gut bacteria have their own circadian rhythm just like you. When you stay up late, they stay up late, and they punish you in the morning. But most people blame their diet before they even think to check their sleep. Then there's movement. Pushing hard in the gym might feel productive, but if you don't give your body enough time to recover, it backfires. You get inflamed, which means instead of feeling energized, you feel constantly wiped out. And then there's stress management. Few people understand how stress damages the gut. According to research that Current Opinion in Behavioral Sciences published, the heightened inflammation that frequently accompanies stress and depression triggers blooms of pathogenic bacteria that encourage dysbiosis and a leaky gut. What that means is that chronic stress tells your body to slow down digestion. This creates the perfect storm. Food sits in the gut too long, fermentation builds, bloating increases, and leaky gut just gets worse. You can't supplement your way out of that. Even your breath matters. Shallow chest breathing triggers the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight. Deep, slow, diaphragmatic breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system. So breathe wrong, and it's basically like your gut panicking. But breathe right, and your gut relaxes and starts digesting. You're not lazy, you're not crazy, and you're not broken. You're just inflamed, and no one ever told you your second brain causes it. But now that you know, you can finally start fixing the system that's silently working against you so your body and your mind and your life can finally work with you.